Do you ever look back in MLB history and think to yourself, wow, what if I was there? Imagine living through the Black Sox scandal, or watching guys like Babe Ruth or Hank Aaron during their prime, or even be at this Red Sox game live to watch this guy be hit with a pizza.
Well, I don't have my telestrator today, but here comes a pizza, see it? Oh, jeez.
Highly unnecessary.
Now, that's a part of MLB history I would have loved to have witnessed in person. Sometimes I look back at MLB history and see things like this. However, this time I looked at recent award winners and remembered that Rick Porcello won the AL Cy Young in 2016. That's only 4 years ago. In 2020, Rick Porcello was with the Mets, and his season performance was underwhelming to say the least. Although, to be fair, his FIP does say otherwise. Regardless, Rick Porcello winning the 2016 AL Cy Young Award is something that hasn't crossed my mind until fairly recently. So I thought we should head back to 2016 so we could see how Rick Porcello became a Cy Young Award winner. Before Porcello was traded to the Red Sox in 2014, he spent the first half of his career in Detroit and was once considered a top 25 prospect by Baseball America. He spent a few years in a rotation filled with the likes of Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Doug Fister, and Anibal Sanchez. Although, at best, Porcello was a league average pitcher with the Tigers. Despite once being a top prospect, Porcello didn't make a single All-Star game or win any award. Before he was traded to Boston, the height of Porcello's success was in his rookie season where he finished third in Rookie of the Year voting, and in his final season with the Tigers, where he led the entire MLB in complete game shutouts with 3. Apart from these 3 complete game shutouts, Porcello hasn't thrown an additional complete game shutout throughout his 12-year career. Although his 2014 performance is what convinced the Red Sox to trade for Porcello, a trade that included Yoenis Cespedes. I have to say that I completely forgot Cespedes was on the Red Sox. Just look at this picture. He looks weird in this jersey. Now look at this one. Manny Ramirez on the Tampa Bay Rays. Now here's DJ LeMahieu on the Cubs. I think you get it. At the beginning of the 2015 season, the Red Sox signed Porcello to a 4-year extension worth $82.5 million. At first, the extension seemed to be a dud. Porcello spent some time on the IL for the first time in his career, and he pitched his worst season in years. However, everything changed in 2016. The former top prospect arguably became the most consistent pitcher in MLB. Porcello was able to turn these stats in 2015 into these stats in 2016. How is this possible? Well, he actually showed a preview in the second half of 2015 after his stint on the IL. But to sum it up, everything just fell into place. Comparing Porcello's walks per 9 and strikeouts per 9 rates prior to 2016, Porcello found a way to lower his walks per 9 rate by nearly half, while also maintaining a reasonable strikeout rate. This led Porcello to lead MLB in strikeouts per walk ratio, a number that was nearly double his rate in previous seasons. There was never really a stretch through the season where Porcello fell into a slump. Just quickly scanning through his game logs doesn't show any terrible outlier performances. In fact, the most earned runs he allowed in a game was 5, which he only did once. He also pitched much better in the second half of the season, where he threw 3 complete games, including an 89-pitch gem in mid-September. Ultimately, I believe Porcello adopted a similar approach in 2016 compared to 2015. In 2015, Porcello's four-seam fastball usage spiked way up compared to previous years, apart from 2011, which was also one of Porcello's worst seasons. While he was known as a ground ball pitcher, his fly ball rate rose to a career high, at least at the time. Part of this was because of his increased four-seam fastball usage and the random inability to use his changeup against lefties. After Porcello's hot start in 2016, manager John Farrell acknowledged Porcello's effectiveness around the strike zone and how he stopped over-relying on his four-seamer to get strikeouts. Red Sox pitching coach Carl Willis echoed the same sentiment. Interestingly, there are some stats that are a bit odd. For example, Porcello's ground ball rate fell downward while his fly ball percentage went up once again. However, he seemed to be able to limit the amount of home runs per fly ball, likely due to his increased usage of the sinker and decreased usage of the four-seamer. It seems that Porcello sought to keep batters off balance rather than overpower them. Porcello himself mentioned how his mechanics in 2015 altered his delivery as he was off balance. He said that as a pitcher that relies on movement and location to induce weak contact, when you are placed in a situation with multiple runners on base, your first instinct is to throw harder. This ultimately led to Porcello's 2015 season, one of the worst of his career. Overall, Porcello was simply able to throw his pitches with increased effectiveness. It's kind of a boring answer, but that's basically what happened. Is that the end of the story? Oh no. There's some more info to be shared. I haven't shown you the 2016 AL Cy Young race. It came down to 3 pitchers: Porcello, Verlander, and Kluber. Let's look at the voting results. Porcello won in a highly contentious race by only 5 points, one of the closest races of all time. But do you notice anything odd? Well, Porcello did win the Cy Young, but Verlander possessed more first-place votes. Porcello became the first player in AL history and third player in MLB history to win the Cy Young award without the most amount of first-place votes. You may remember that Verlander's wife, Kate Upton, wasn't exactly pleased with these results. Comparing the stats between these 3 pitchers, the award probably could have been given to any of these guys. The vote possibly came down to the Red Sox making the playoffs, unlike the Tigers, and Porcello's overall efficiency. As stated earlier, the most amount of earned runs that Porcello allowed was 5, while Verlander had 3 starts with 7+ earned runs. Although, to be fair, these 3 starts came in the first half of the season. Like Porcello, Verlander was much better in the second half of 2016. I guess Porcello was considered the safe option, as almost all the voters felt he was at least worthy of a second-place vote. Although, this is not where the controversy ends. 2 writers had left Verlander off their ballot completely. Coincidentally, these writers both covered the Tampa Bay Rays. Every organization has 2 writers that represent them in award voting, so it's very odd that Verlander was left off the ballot by 2 writers covering the same organization. These writers were not even from the same publication. If these guys had put Verlander in 4th or 5th place, he still would have lost, although a couple of third-place votes would have put Verlander over the edge. One of the writers said that he voted for who he felt were the best 5 guys. I doubt there was malpractice committed, but it was not only strange for these 2 to leave Verlander off the ballot completely, considering his stats among the American League leaders, but that they were writers covering the same team. In the end, Verlander still has a Hall of Fame resume, and we get to look back at Porcello's 2016 campaign with much intrigue. How does a guy with no prior awards, not even an all-star appearance in the same season, win an award as prestigious as the Cy Young? Well, Porcello made many adjustments so he could pitch to his strengths, and he was part of a group without a clear award winner. This award means a lot more to a pitcher like Porcello, as Verlander has already won it, and has a Hall of Fame resume even without the 2016 award. For Porcello, it shows that for one season, he was able to exceed his wildest expectations and become the best pitcher in the American League. Kind of poetic, if you ask me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like if you did, and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching.